Welcome back to the Daily QCI. Today, it's Critical Thinking Thursday, but we're also in the Above Average Team Member Month. So, we're going to combine the two and talk about the fundamental attribution error at work. This is one of the most destructive thinking errors on teams. Not because it's too dramatic, but because it's quiet. It's below the surface. It doesn't blow teams up, but it slowly poisons how people interpret each other. It's the fundamental attribution error. And once you know that it exists, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. Like when you look for a VW bug. You know that from back in the day? All right, the fundamental attribution error is simple to describe and nearly impossible to escape. We tend to explain other people's behavior by their character, but we explain our own behavior by the circumstances. So when I miss a deadline, it's because I was overloaded. But when you miss a deadline, it's because you're unreliable. Same behavior, different story. Ross and others identified this decades ago, and it's one of the most replicated findings in psychology. What matters is not that we do this, it's that we usually don't realize we're doing it. We experience our own lives from the inside. We experience others only from the outside. And that asymmetry creates moral stories. On teams, this bias quietly rewrites reality. Someone doesn't speak up in a meeting? Oh, they're disengaged. Someone pushes back on an idea? They're difficult. Someone asks for clarification? They're slowing us down. Meanwhile, our own silence is us being thoughtful. Our pushback is us being thorough. And our clarification is just wanting to get it right. This is how teams drift from curiosity to judgment without noticing the transition. And once judgment sets in, generosity collapses. Because it's very hard to be generous towards someone that you've just labeled. So this bias, the fundamental attribution error, explains why teams struggle with the exact principles that we're covering this week and really this month. It's why listening breaks down. It's why generosity can feel risky. It's why communication often turns transactional. If I believe that your behavior reflects who you are, I stop asking what you might be dealing with that could be influencing that behavior. If I assume my own behavior is situational, I feel entitled to understanding it without extending it. Let's think about coaching and take your pick what it's about, whether it's fitness or your office, business, nutrition. We're going to think about coaching. A good coach doesn't label an athlete as lazy after one bad session. They might ask about sleep and stress and nutrition and the amount of load compounding over time. But on teams, we stop coaching each other and we start diagnosing personality problems. This is when trust erodes from the inside out. So let's do something different. We're going to be specific. We're not going to excuse behavior, but we're going to contextualize before making any conclusions. So we're going to ask, what might I be missing about that reaction I see, that action or reaction? What pressure might they be under that I don't know about? And what story would make this behavior make sense? And then you still hold people accountable. The goal is not to remove responsibility. The goal is to remove lazy thinking and bad stories. So here's the practice for this week. The rest of the week. You got a couple days left. When you feel irritation towards a teammate, pause and ask, what is the most generous explanation that still allows for them to take responsibility? That one question improves communication, restores generosity, and keeps teams human instead of cynical. That is critical thinking applied to real life.